Yo, what's up guys? No Policies here, and today I am here with our draft for CSML Season X, or Season 10. Can't believe this is the final season in CSML. I haven't been around the CSML for too long. I've known about it for a long time, but never actually joined it until about Season 7, but Season X, man, last season of CSML, as of now. Maybe we'll do more, but this is kind of the pinnacle of it. It's been a really long road, and to end that long road, I'm really glad that I got a team that I'm really happy about. I love this team. This team I basically got everything I wanted, bar few, but I think the things that I got instead were really good. Except one thing that we're just gonna trash, but you know, we're not gonna worry about that. We're gonna free agent something. Hopefully, we can just can go over that. But looking at our team, I'm really happy about it. Basically got everything I wanted, and the thing I didn't, like I said, I've already patched up in my head. So let's just get right into it. So first up, Mega. Now, a lot of people were kind of confused about this. I mean, you know, as many people as kind of care, not really. This is kind of a controversial pick. Mega Houndoom. Mega Houndoom isn't really taken too often. I think King BC used it. Shout out to King BC. In like whatever season he had it, like season 7, and then Dan had it like season BC had it season 8, and Dan had it season 6. So not used too often, but I think Mega Houndoom is a really viable mon. For starters, pre-Mega, it gets Flash Fire, which I think is a really nice ability. With Flash Fire, it basically allows this Pokemon to kind of switch in on any fire hit and just not take any damage, unless, you know, of course, the opponent has, like, Mold Breaker or something. But let's just go over kind of the key things I wanted to point out about Mega Houndoom. I actually took notes because I want to keep this as concise as possible. It's very fast. I think my most successful seasons have been me with fast Megas. Mega Manectric in the Little League of CSLL. And then when I had Mega Pidgeot, whatever season that was, season 8, and to continue that trend, we're going to go with Mega Houndoom. Not as fast as Mega Pidgeot, not as fast as Mega Manectric, but still very fast, and 115 is a pretty good speed tier to be in. Not quite over 120, but, you know, it's pretty nice to be there. Unfortunately, it's Mega, so, you know, a lot of Scarfers can kind of just revenge kill, but it's very powerful. 140 attack, or special attack. Actually, I think a lot of people sleep on this thing's defenses. It's not, like, frail. It has 90 both defenses. 75 HP isn't the best, but 90 both defenses isn't bad at all. Like, we compare that to, I think, Mega Regular Houndoom has, like, horrible, yeah, like 50 defense, 80 special defense, and then it's, like, other stats are pretty good. It actually doesn't have that bad of attack either. Don't want Regular Houndoom. It gets an automatic speed boost this generation, which is really cool. Great offensive typing. I think the thing with it is it's just really bad defensively, but offensively, oh man, it is a nasty thing to deal with. Dark and Fire doesn't really have too many switch-ins, and then you may think like, oh, maybe a Fairy type. Well, it's got Sludge Bomb, it's got Shadow Ball, it's got Sucker Punch, Super Fang, has access to Willow and Taunt, and Nasty Plot, which is really nice to kind of boost those stats, and Destiny Bond. So it overall has a really nice array of movesets, and to top it all off, it gave me a pretty good bonus pick, or bonus, like, position, giving me, because if I draft a C Mega, then I have a C bonus pick, so if I go down a tier for one of my picks, I already have a B, and then another pick, and I have A. So that's really nice, because Mega Houndoom is a pretty value pick, in my opinion. So, C tier, I think this thing probably is good in there, because I don't think people would draft it otherwise. But Mega Houndoom, man, it's a really nice mon. Next up, we got the boy. I think my friend James Sanity will be really happy about this, because I got myself a Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu, let's just go over the basics. Grassy Surge makes this thing incredibly hard to switch into. Horn Leech makes this thing a very hard Pokemon to kill as well, especially with Great Bulk. It's very powerful, has 130 attack stat, and has great coverage to boast, like Rock Slide and Superpower. And it even got Synthesis this generation, which I thought was pretty cool, because Synthesis is a reliable recovery, which Blue didn't have previous to Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. It had Leech Seed, it had Horn Leech, which is giving it some health, but Grassy Surge is kind of a double-edged sword, because while you're giving yourself recovery and a boost to your grass moves, you're also giving your opponent recovery, which can be very, very pivotal in deciding a lot of matches, because 6% each turn may seem like a very little, but, you know, with 1%, really, like, 1% can make a game, because, you know, maybe your opponent gets 6% back and your opponent lives on 1%, well, you know, that's because of that Grassy Surge. So, I mean, if it would have guaranteed killed and then Grassy Surge makes it a roll and then you end up losing because of that, it can be kind of annoying there. But other than that, I think this has a lot of things going for it. I think Bulu, I don't know who it was. I think it was like someone was saying that Bulu is not a value A1 pick. I would very much disagree. I think Bulu is phenomenal. I think really, it probably shouldn't have even made it to me, but I realized that I was 12th overall in A1, and I thought, you know, I think there's just so much broken stuff, quote-unquote broken, like so much really powerful stuff that I think Bulu will kind of fly under the radar. So I think Bulu was a really nice pickup, and it really has some really nice like sets that I'm kind of already looking at, but overall, kind of go over the basics. Nature's Madness is really cool too to have as well. Gives that kind of stall breaking as well, kind of able to break that down. So anyway, going and pairing with Tapu Bulu, I think is a really nice mon, being Thunderous Therian. This kind of 3 pairing is really, really nice, because you got Houndoom being weak to ground, Thunderous and Bulu covering that, Bulu weak to fire, Houndoom covering that. None of them are weak to electric, but, you know, Thunderous covers that. So I think what makes Thunderous amazing mon is the fact that, like Houndoom, it's very, very, it's pretty fast. 101 is a great speed tier to be at, because it can barely break 100, which is really nice for, like, you know, 100 Scarfers. They're like, oh, well, might as well, not invest for 100 or 101, because, you know, my opponent is not going to be 100, so might as well not invest. So it kind of deters, like, running a lot of speed on 100 base speed Pokemon. And Thunderous Therian is just a phenomenal mon. It's amazing with Z-moves. This thing is really hard to predict. In my opinion, I always am so scared going up against any kind of, like, Thunderous. I think Thunderous Therian and Thunderous are 2 of the more scary mons to go up against in Draft League, just because of how powerful they can be, combined with the fact that they're just so unpredictable. It can be kind of a support set with something like Taunt and, like, Thunder Wave and stuff like that. But it can also be a very powerful physical and special attacker, which could be Scarf, could be Specs, could be Agility, could be Nasty Plot, could be Z, like, Fly, something like that. It just has so many options when it comes to different ways to utilize, and it's just crazy to me. There's just so many different options when it comes to Thunderous, and I really just wanted to draft it. Not to mention, saying it's Defog this generation, which don't know how much I'll be running Defog on Thunderous, because it's more of a sweeping Pokemon, but Defog is really nice for tech, going things like Taunt and stuff like that. Gets 2 forms of pivoting, which I think is really, really nice, and do I need to say it again? It's just a super powerful wand. 145 special attack, kind of a alternative to Mega Houndoom in wall breaking, and it's really, I mean, unlike Houndoom, it can actually run like an item in Z moves for all sake. I will say Bulu is also my Z-mon, and so is Thunderous, and we'll get to the last one in a bit. But moving on, we got Conkelder. Now, this is my franchise pick of the draft, and I think it's a good one. I think I really liked picking Conkelder. I love Conkelder as a mon, but I can never seem to get it right, or at least I didn't last season. So I kind of want to redeem this pick from where it was last season. I think Conkelder is a really phenomenal mon. I just think it needs to be utilized correctly. And I think I'm not going to say what I figured out about Conkelder, because I don't want no scouting out or like from my opponents on what I'm going to do. But I figured out the thing that I was using Conkelder wrong in this last season. But we'll We'll get to that. Last season, kind of a fluke season. I didn't really like that season much, but I think Conkelder was a mon I think I could utilize a lot better. So, yeah. And it's a bulky fighting type. I think bulky fighting types are my favorite form of fighting types. Fast, like, I've used Hitmonchan, Conkelder, obviously, Hariyama, and Scrafty. I've always loved bulky fighting types. I think I can really utilize them very well. Some of them faster than others, but I think just being bulky and powerful is the main thing, the main draw from these Pokemon. I ended up bringing like Scrafty like every single week for whatever season I had. Then Hitmonchan I loved a lot, and then Hariyama I liked in whatever season, whatever of LL. Conkelder as a mon, it's very, very powerful. Has so many good coverage options. 3 great abilities: Sheer Force, Iron Fist, and Guts. Guts being a very good way to absorb status. So kind of like maybe because I don't think my my team has any kind of cleric. So I guess Conkelder kind of acts as my status absorber in a sense. I don't think clerics are really necessary on a team. I think they're kind of meh. I really don't. I'm not really a stall player. I really like offense. Bulky offense is really kind of where I strive. I like hyper offense as well, but bulk is kind of I don't really utilize as well. But Conkelder is just really, really nice. I like how versatile it is. Versatility is one of the things I seek a lot in Draft League because I like being unpredictable, and the more unpredictable I am, the less my opponents can really kind of prep and start to kind of just like, I don't know, it starts to get in head. But yes, Conkelder, Recovery and Drain Punch, Priority and Mach Punch, overall really solid mon, and I'm glad I franchised it, especially since I was second to last in my B1 pick. So we're going to skip past Tentacruel because this mon is irrelevant, even though I used it last season. It's trash, and we're going to skip past it because I'm going to free agent it. So might use it next week, but it's actually trash. Cofagrigus. What can I say about Cofagrigus? It is super bulky. I really like the fact that this thing is like 145 defense, 105 special defense. Pretty slow, but it does give me a Trick Room option, which is kind of scary. I don't think I've ever had Trick Room options on my team, and having a really viable one in Cofagrigus is phenomenal. Also gives me T-Spikes, which is also really nice. I know Tentacruel gives me T-Spikes, but Tentacruel is not a mon on this team. We basically have 11 mons for now. But it also gives me a form of hazing because, you know, you want to haze your opponent, I guess. It does give me a way to kind of stop setup as well. Haze is a really nice move to have. I'm getting kind of caught up on Haze. A lot of coverage options. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate what Cofagrigus can do coverage-wise. Nasty Plot plus something like Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, Knockoff I think is really good for utility. And just it doesn't really need much coverage, but it has the options that it needs. Like Shadow Ball is really all it needs because how many like Ghost, like how many teams are really weak to Ghost. I think it's really well said that a lot of teams are weak to Ghost, and while they are very few and far between, you still have to kind of look out for them. Cofagrigus is really cool because it's really good both offensively and defensively. I think a lot of people sleep on its offensive capabilities. With Trick Room, I think this is a really good Trick Room setter. I think you can run like Trick Room Nasty Plot with like Shadow Ball coverage for a team, and it will really do phenomenally. I think it's just a really nice mon to self-Trick Room because of how bulky it is, and it can kind of easily set up. And Pain Split allows it to kind of gain back HP as well. Even if you don't want to run it that offensively, it still gets access to something like Nightshade for kind of static damage, and if you kind of just want to keep it consistent. Trick is really nice as well. Kind of gives your a way to trick items to your opponent. Kind of nice there. And then of course Willow, which while Houndoom had, I think definitely is better utilized than Cofagrigus because it's a more bulky Pokemon, so it has the room to Willow and such. But I think it's a really great bulky mon, and I used Hoopa last season, but I don't think it really fit the team well. I think Psychic Ghost is also a pretty bad defensive typing, so I like more bulky Ghost types, so we'll see how Cofagrigus does this season. And now we're going to get on to our are picks that are not as good, but, you know, I mean, I think they're good for where I got them, but they're going to be C to our bonus pick. So, starting off with Noivern, I think a lot of people sleep on Noivern. I don't see it used too often. I got it C2, which, I mean, I didn't really... I was kind of in between getting my C3 and C2, either one. But I decided to get Noivern. I think it was kind of more pivotal because of its things that it gave me. First off, I think Frisk is really, really nice. I think it's just, well, again, I'll say it's well said that Frisk is pretty good in Draft League format. 123 speed is phenomenal. I think it's just a great speed tier to be in because you're outspeeding 122, 121, 120, and it is my fastest mon, but 123 is, I think, is a great tier. I think it's just a great speed tier to have on a mon. I think it outspeeds Tornadus. I think Tornadus is, what, 121? Mega Pidgeot. It's not showing me because I set this to RU for some stupid reason. If we look at this thing's coverage, like, holy crap, especially Gen 7 gave it a lot of weird options. It's not really good physically, but it gets things like Leech Life and stuff like that. It gets Roost, Hurricane, obviously, for some good Flying Stab, Air Slash, Boom Burst for really good neutral damage. It gets Defog as well. A lot of Pokemon got Defog for some random reason in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. It gets Momentum and U-Turn. It doesn't have the best coverage. Switcheroo, as well, as I think is kind of cool because, you know, it's very likely it's brought as a form of choice set, like Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, or Choice Band, you know. It gets just really random coverage, but I think it's really hard to predict in that regard because it's kind of, I mean, if you know you're a seasoned player, you can probably guess what the coverage would be, but, you know, Noivern, I think, is just really nice. I don't know how often I'll bring it, but it gives me a really fast offensive option, and it gives more defog, you know. Yeah, I really wanted a Dragon type, and I wanted a really fast Dragon type, so I think that's a really nice option there. As, like, even though I have so many fast special attackers, I think this is just another great one to have. So, anyway, moving on, we have Mr. Rideon as our resident wall. This is a D pick, so I did actually drop down, so now my bonus pick is to B. Rideon is a really phenomenal mon. I think this thing is great in Draft League. It's really always showed where it lies as a Pokemon. I think it has so much coverage options. It is one of the best rockers in the game, in my opinion, just because how bulky with an Eviolite this thing is. Earthquake is just great stab to have with 130 base attack. Its special defense isn't great, but you'd be surprised with like 105 HP and an Eviolite. This thing can take hits for days on either side. Defensively, it just doesn't die. It doesn't have recovery, which is, you know, obviously an issue, but I think with like just how well it wears down your opponent, it's not really I don't think it's needed to really wall. I think it can kind of set up rocks, toxic, do whatever, and, you know, just be a solid Pokemon in general. I think Rideon was a really solid pickup, and overall, I think it gave my team a lot what it needed. I didn't really have a rock resist other than Conkelder at this point, which I don't know how much I'll be switching that thing in to attacks, but I think Rideon's a really good rock answer to this team. So that's going to be Rideon. Not the best on the special side. It's pretty slow too, but overall I think it's a really bulky mon that my team needed. So moving on to Santino. Oh my gosh, I love Santino. I used it back in LO Season 5. Didn't draft or Season 4. I didn't draft, or was it? I don't even know what season was. Season 3? I don't know. I didn't even draft for that season, but it was pretty great to use Santino. I think Santino was in a phenomenal mon. You look at this thing's coverage and you're like, wow, that's some good coverage. Knockoff, Rock Blast, U-Turn, Tail Slap, Bullet Seed, Aqua Tail, Gunk Shot. Like, this thing doesn't... It's just so powerful. It's fast. It's offensive with... Oh, that's, no. It has skill link. And it breaks through. I really wanted a fast physical attacker, so I think that's really what Santino was the main thing for me. I guess I don't need types. I really started to try to shift my drafting style to more role based instead of type based. I always drafted type based, just kind of like previously, and I've kind of tried to fix that up as the years have gone by. But I think Santino, while it kind of fills a type, it also fills roles. I think having a fast offensive Pokemon was something I really desperately have needed in past seasons. My most prime example is Season 8, where I was forced to run DD Dragonite a lot just because I needed fast physical offense, and I just didn't need it. And I ended up getting rid of my Raikou for Weavile because I just needed fast physical offense. So I think Santino is a really nice pick for D. It's a great pick for D. I think it's one of the better D picks, and I'm glad it's finally D because it was never going to get taken, and I just was so glad I was able to pick it up now. Next up, we got a Aurorus. Now, this is kind of a weird pick, not for the sake that I drafted it. It's just a weird case, like that weird in the sense that I kind of regretting drafting it. It's more the fact that I actually drafted Avalugg, but I ended up sniping one of my buddies, Akeem, or, whatever. Yeah, I was going to go for Sandslash in this pick, because, gave me my A bonus pick, and it was just overall it gave me my A bonus pick, but at the same time, I wanted rocks, and Sandslash actually got rocks. I didn't even know that until I was looking more into it, and I was like, wow, get rocks this generation? That's really cool. But I believe the Skokie Snowruns took Sandslash Alola, but like 2 picks before me, or 3 picks. And I ended up getting Avalugg kind of out of like spite. I was like, gosh dang it, okay, guess I'm getting Avalugg. And I was like, I really don't want Avalugg. And Akeem of Krakenation of the Boston Bisharps really, really wanted Avalugg and was so devastated when I took it. And I was like, I'm going to, out of the kindness of my heart, make me sound like a saint. But I decided, I really don't want Avalugg. And I was like, if it makes his draft better, I don't want to see him fail. Why not just get Aurorus? It's not... It gave me what I want. It gave me rocks. It actually gives me some nice things in return. It gives me more... I mean, I have even as many special... I have so many special attackers. But as many special attackers as I have, it gives me more special offense. It's just so nice to have nice special offense. Like 99 special attack, 58 speed. Gives me refrigerate and Snow Warning. As much as Snow Warning doesn't really help me, it really kind of just hinders me. It actually could be a nice kind of countermeasure to grassy terrain, because it means my opponent's also not getting HP back unless they're leftovers. So they'll maybe take hail damage, take what is it? Grassy, like maybe take the grassy recovery, but then take hail damage. So it's kind of nice there. It gets a lot of nice weird coverage. I don't want to say nice. It gets Encore, which I think is really cool. Stealth Rock is the big one. And overall, it's a really nice mon. Like, it really is a good Pokemon. I just think I wanted Sandslash, man. But, it's a good E-mon, so I probably shouldn't have expected it to get to me. That's probably the only snipe that was kind of annoying. But I like Aurorus as a Pokemon. I think I probably like it over Sandslash as a Pokemon. But, what can you do? And I think we can get to our last actual pick of the draft, being Ludicolo. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not keeping Tentacruel, and I was thinking, I really like Bulky Waters. And I think, honestly, Ludicolo is a phenomenal Bulky Water. Water Grass is a superb defensive typing. It like only, I think it only is weak to poison and flying and bug, but all the water weaknesses that I have are eliminated by the grass type, which I think is crazy because that's just nice. And I think it's one of the best dual typings with grass, other than maybe like steel. But even steel, I think, is kind of like exploitable because fighting and fire are pretty common, and bug and flying are not too common. And then there's well, bug, flying, and yeah, bug, poison, and flying are really all that common. You know, flying's probably the most common out of those three, and then poison you don't really see offensively too often. But, you know, I think Water Grass is just a phenomenal defensive typing, and I really needed some special bulk. I got Aurorus, I guess, but Aurorus isn't that specially bulky. I think Ludicolo is a much better, like, Assault Vest user than Aurorus. It's a little bit faster, too. It gives me, like, more varied speed tiers. 70 speed is really, really nice, actually, on this team, to vary the speed a little bit, because, you know, Bulu as well. Is 75, and then this is 70. So it's really nice there. I'm really, really liking this Pokemon. It just has so much going for it. It has Recovery and Synthesis, Giga Drain, Nature Power as well, which can be really nice against all the Tabus in this game. Yeah. So and it works kind of well with Bulu because, you know, Rain Dance with Bulu, oh my gosh, this might get a few sweeps, and we'll see if it's able to get a sweep. Might be my goal. Gets access to knockoff. It doesn't have that bad of attack, like physical attack. It's not that bad. Scald, I think, is really nice. Ice Beam. It has so much great coverage. Focus Blast. The amount of coverage that this thing is really, really nice, and overall is just a really solid mod this game in my games. So we'll see how often I bring it, but overall it's a really nice mon, and I think it's such a great pick for E. I was first in E tier, so I wasn't really too worried that I wouldn't get it, because I think a lot of people kind of flew under its radar, and a lot of people already have bulky waters. So we'll just see if we're able to kind of pull it off. So anyway, finally we can get to one of my favorite picks of the season. Necrozma, whatever you want to call it. After seeing Joey PokeMMD use it in GBA, I really kind of undervalued its usage. Before that, I was kind of like, yeah, it's alright, you know, it's pretty bulky, it's got some nice stats, but holy crap, this thing has great sweeping potential, too. I always kind of saw it as a more bulky Pokemon. I never really saw it as a offensive Pokemon, but holy crap. Photon Geyser changed that so much, and all the coverage moves, obviously, that it got. Earth Power and Heat Wave, it got as well. Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, that's not too helpful, but it's something. It always got the Moonlight and Morning Sun for recovery from old Sun and Moon. It gets knockoff now, which is great. Access to things like Stealth Rock, Trick Room, Thunder Wave, Toxic, Sword Stance, and Calm Mind, as well as Autotomize or Rock Polish. I mean, it doesn't really matter unless my opponent's running like Heavy Slam or something. But, you know, it could come in handy. You never know. It gets Brick Break too, which I think is nice because it did need some kind of fighting coverage. If it got Focus Blast, this thing would be great, but unfortunately it doesn't. But Photon Geyser is amazing because this allows this Pokemon to run either physical or special, or mixed, but, you know, maybe kind of hard that way. But, you know, I don't know if it gets any physical Psychic moves other than, like, Psycho Cut. It doesn't get Zen Headbutt. I know that for sure. Overall, I think Necrozma, it is my Z. This will be my final Z-Bon. Unfortunately, it doesn't get a specific Z move like Ultra Necrozma Z, but it would be nice if that thing got it in a regular form. But unfortunately, if you hold the Ultra Necrozma Z, it turns into Ultra Necrozma. So, yeah. Unfortunate. But, you know, I think it's It's still a phenomenal mon. I don't know if it should have been A tier, but I'm glad it was, because I would have, there was like, I was last in bonus, and I was kind of worried I was going to get my pick snipe, but luckily, after talking with all the people that had A's before me, I was like, okay, I can get Necrozma, because everyone wanted something else, and I got kind of lucky, so. Yeah, that's going to be my draft. I'm really, really happy with it. Like, I'm not usually excited about my draft, but, like, I'm really happy about this. Our first matchup is going to be a really tough one. It's against the Zion Zards, coached by Cherrymander. So we'll see if we're able to come out with a dub week 1 against them. But we'll see. They have a really good team. And it'll be kind of interesting to see what they bring. But, yeah. Overall, I think the thing to take away from this is that Tentacruel is a trash mon. It is no longer on this squad. I may do a free agent video when I free agent the mon that I'm going to get instead of it. But for now, just act like we have 11 mons on the team because we don't have Tentacruel. Tentacruel is not on this squad. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like what you saw, then please do like, subscribe, and comment. It's kind of nice, you know, once in a while to get comments. So, you know, yeah. So if any CSL people are watching, hopefully you guys liked your draft too. I liked a lot of other drafts. Not really going to go into too much detail, but there were a lot of nice drafts this season. So, I mean, like, we look, like, Ewok's draft is good. Ant's draft is cool. Ember's draft is cool. Nefertum's draft is cool. Rylai's draft is, like, always power. Yeah, so I think like all the drafts are just awesome. I like basically all the drafts that I'm looking at. So yeah, with that being said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.